Okay, so we're looking at basic shapes, uh, where things basically are going to go and where they're going to terminate, like the side of the cheek to there, and my hat going around the ears, and maybe the angle of the glasses going across. There's my eyebrows. Glasses are right around there. Where's that chin gonna go? There we go, right in there somewhere. A lot of gnarly hair. Okay. I'm gonna tackle this project with a brush pen. I'm gonna put the glasses in first instead of the eyes, just because I have a lot of material going behind the glasses. I got bushy eyebrows, and my eyes have to fit in there. And the glasses are going to give me a nice line to keep this angle happening. Sometimes drawing, when we have a face at an angle, it's hard to keep it, and we end up with our drawings looking like a halibut face, the eyes all Picassoed out. So anyway, here we go. Now inside the glasses, you've got I got pretty thick glasses, so I'm giving myself a dot pattern where the eyebrows underneath the glasses go, and if they leave, let's give a stopping point too. If they terminate with a white space there, I'll get a 2 for 1, giving showing the glass a little bit, and then also showing the eyebrow. Now, some pretty heavy squinting going on here, and it produces a nice set of furrowed lines there. And I have a kind of a rule that I don't like to let the victim out caricature the artist. So if there's something that is pretty radical on the victim, I don't want to make it less so on my drawing. It just wouldn't be right. When you're drawing hair, sometimes you can take an in-betweener and just blacken that up a little bit. It gives a sense of depth. And all right, so now I got squinty eye number 1 right in to that hair of the eyebrow, and then that's the top line. That's like the eyelid line, and now this is the actually eyelid itself. And if a half an inch is called for a pupil, I mean, then probably a 1/4 inch is good. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. So I'm just making a little Clint Eastwood squint there, letting the eyebrows go out, eyelashes, and now I'm careful, or mindful of the side of the face. I'm kind of making this up, but I know that that eye sits in a socket, and I'm going to bring this socket down with a slight little turn there, because that's where it's hitting the glasses. And then on the other side of the glasses is, because there's refraction, I'll move the other cheekbone here. And the lines start to disintegrate with the white hairs of my beard, which white hairs are kind of tough anyway on a black and white drawing. So I have to be really careful that I kind of use the dark hairs as shading. All right, now I'm going to come up here and get the forehead. The forehead is one of the areas we find recognition in, and what happens right above the eyes is pretty important. Because there's a big muscle right up in here, and it makes all these nice squinty lines, but it also gives a certain shape to our forehead that we find recognition. And recognition of shapes of faces is something not to be taken for granted. It's not everybody that can recall. A shape is a fluid thing. It's always in motion. It's sideways. It's front on. It's actually, facial recognition software is fascinating study to me. I mean, just so we get the same thing here. The eyebrow goes a little bit below. Just give myself some dots there. Don't want to encroach on that line. And get that little hardware there on the nose. Whether you can see it or not, I've always kind of thought it was funny. Put it in there. And it gives me a place to go to where that other eye is. Now, I'm really squinty. The brush is kind of losing it's getting fatter on the tip, so I got to be careful. I can't get the detail I usually get, so I'm playing a little fatter here. And going for that cross-eyed look a little bit. All right. See if I can zoom in there for you. I'm using an old Nikon camera. How much of this bottom lens do you want to put in is up to you. You can always add more, but I kind of leave it off to give to take away from unnecessary detail and to give it a sense of light hitting the subject. coming across. I'm going to give myself kind of a jerky line there to imitate the material of the hat. So it doesn't look too harsh. And there's another line here above that. It's got a little fray in it. Little details like that are funny. I don't know. It's just, it adds to it. You just, years of watching Mad Magazine, observing Mad Magazine, little details like that Mort Drucker is able to throw in. It just always adds to the humor. You go, hey, that's the way my hat looks like. You're getting the viewer to identify with what you're doing. So anyway, now the nose. The nose can be identified by the nostrils only. They're your indicator. A little foreshortening happening, and you know that this one's closer to you than that one. And I haven't even drawn anything yet. That's a good sign when you're drawing, when it's seems you get the feeling it's drawing itself. Little things like that are happening, and you know it's worthy to continue on. There's usually a line that comes out of the eye socket, and it's a defining line. Helps you understand where to place the nose. So I got a white beard and a black brush. It's time. Like these, you need a sense of humor. So we put in enough material to give the idea of it being hair. And keep looking. Okay, I'm going to make a smile go way out here. And kind of draw the shadows of that beard in. I guess mustache. It's not a beard yet. Definitely fast forward most of this stuff that's happening in here, huh? I get to define some of that tooth action here with a little black. Now, the angle of the teeth is pretty important to pay attention to exaggerating, because it'll make it look whether you got an overbite or underbite. And you get this little crack here between the last tooth that you want to draw and the end of your inside of your mouth, and it's like the nostrils. It really helps define the teeth before you even draw one. So I'm going to put this little line in the lip. And give myself some rodentia type teeth here. Now, real life, I can't see much more than the amount of teeth I'm drawing here. I had this tooth right here pulled, so that's a gap that most people don't have. But even at that, if it was a typical caricature that I draw, I usually leave out some of their chompers so I can get some black into the corners. And I just curl those teeth around, because see what you're seeing here, these teeth are actually on a curve. So that this, as they go back, you get less and less of a profile. And that helps to give a circular look by how you draw the teeth. It's real easy to flatten out the whole face by drawing the teeth without any foreshortening there. All right, now a little scraggly beard action. Now, between the lip and the hair, there's usually a space, and that helps define both the hair and the lip. This is the shadow side, so more hair can be drawn in black on this side. That's I use a lot of dot technology to give myself little guidelines without having to revert to a pencil. Those dots won't be seen after I draw in what I need to draw in. Here we and get that skinny caricature neck in there. So as the glasses go back, that's all I need to do there. Show a little bit of that action. And we're ready for part 2, and that's the shading. For shading, I use a number 5 and a number 2. I usually use the brush end, and you can kind of get different layers. If you go over, I want to get this knit hat look, and I'm going to go over with a slow amount of number 5, not moving my hand too fast, so maximum amount of ink can get down. Looks like it only does 24 minutes at a time. Anyway, here I am back. I'm doing the shading. Finishing the knit hat. And I'm going to let a little light go up into that area there. Okay. Take number 2 here and see what blending sometimes is all you need. I just refilled both of these yesterday. Instead of my normal 50 drop refill amount, I put in 100. See if they're pretty soupy today. So if I want that to be darker, I can just go over that again, and probably those first lines that I put in will show as just a little bit of more as texture, you know. In Photoshop, that's called multiply. You know, you can go over and with a line that's not total 100% opaque, and it'll keep adding in value as you go through layer upon layer. So there's the shadow under there. Well, I got this color out. I'm going to darken in my eyebrows. And when I shade inside of this glass, I can get the edge of the glass to show by not shading that. I can blend out this number 5 with the number 2 a couple ways, either by putting the 2 down first and having the black or the number 5 have something wet that's kind of blend into, and then I can move it out with the number 2, get a nice little blend there. Or if I just want a piece of it, I'll get the number 2 and I'll put I'll rub it up on the brush of the number 5, and it'll give me a little color right there. It's like Ben said yesterday in recording, some of this detail is all by itself would be unnecessary, but when you put 100 of them together, it becomes important. That guy's a craftsman, by the way. I was impressed. It's funny how a craftsman in one trade can encourage and inspire the other trades. Especially in the sign painting world, when you come after all the trades and your decoration is on somebody's job that they put their heart and soul into, and what people are going to see really is your work over the top, you owe it to the other trades to be as good as you can with what you do. And in tradesman work, there's a glorious lack of political correctness in how people feel. Most of the time, if you're doing good work, you're going to get really high fives. But in those times where you weren't, you'll hear about it. Or if you were late and holding somebody up. Anyway, let me get a little bit of that number 5 on the number 2. Darken up these little shade areas. Okay. The whole nose thing shades down onto the mustache. We're going to try to give this mustache a sense of turning form also, going from dark to light so that the highlight hits right about in here. I'm going to build that up with the number 2 first, with hair-like strokes so I don't lose the feeling of hair there. So this is where my highlight wants to be. highlight, go ahead and put a shadow underneath that onto the teeth. There we go. We can come down that way with the teeth a little bit, show a little highlight right there. And might as well get that lip action. You should have an understanding of basic drawing before you do caricature, so you understand about bounce back light, highlights, general stuff, so that your drawing has a certain amount of foundational understanding to it. And then your understanding of anatomy should be such that you know what you're exaggerating, and it's not just because you can't see it very well. You understand what's behind the eye, how it works, so you can shade and bring out the structure. You really don't even have to know what I look like on this drawing, not to sound braggy, but you didn't sense it. But you'll have, there's a certain amount of integrity to this drawing that you get the feeling it's a real person.
Well, I run out of video memory, and
okay, so let's go back into the
this guy up with
mustache
more
now.
shading, like
Little fiber action on
I had mentioned, using the number 2, using the number 5, blending a little bit. You can see there along the mustache, I did a little more darkening on the left side, trying to bring out the difference between the left side and the highlight. A little shadow around the forehead, left side of the forehead. Maybe darken it in underneath the chin line. Little things here and there, but not too much. I think that gives you the idea how I go about doing these caricatures. And it's really a process. It's not so much inspiration. I've always thought inspiration is for amateurs. Process is for professionals. And I mean, Mort Drucker, he goes to work every day at 7 in the morning. He doesn't wait for inspiration. He knows what he's got to do, and he goes about doing it, and that's what gets the job done. I'll catch you guys later. Hope you enjoyed this vid.
Okay, thank you so much for watching. And just before you go, did you know I have a free book, 7 Habits of Calm and Happy People? I read a lot of books on this and really condensed it into this with some exercises too. I think you're gonna like it if you want more peace and happiness in your life. So you can find it at findcalm.com/book. Findcalm.com/book. So